Power like us, brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other squad lifting spirits like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no team bringing brotherhood like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no man moving in purpose like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other crew spreading power like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other squad lifting spirits like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no team bringing brotherhood like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no man moving in purpose like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us.
Okay. Sorry about that. So all that time I was talking, nobody could hear me because I was muted. But I am I am here. Um, so glad to see all of you guys here. Ernesto, brother, we haven't talked in a while. I'm so glad you're here. Of course, my man Gus is in the building. Spoke with you a little earlier. And my man John Johnson is here as well. Let me see if I can get everybody on screen. Let me move this main screen. Can I make this smaller? I'm playing around with a lot of different stuff, guys. So bear with me as we move forward. Okay, let me delete this one, get that one out the way, and get all of us. Yes. So Ernesto, how you doing, bro?
I'm well. How are you?
I am doing great, man. I'm doing great. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
So now you're in the school, so you're preparing for the winter break, right?
Oh, yeah. It's literally a countdown. Yeah.
I
All
hear
the
you, bro.
teachers have in their heads they have a countdown.
Yes, yes. Gus,
Yeah.
you too. You're in the schools, so you're waiting for the winter break as well, right?
Not really.
No, you're not looking
No,
forward.
no, I enjoy my students.
I think, yeah. Listen, we enjoy the students and everything, but I'll be looking forward to that break, bro. I mean, I'm not in the school system like you guys are, but I definitely be looking forward to my breaks, man. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. So, so listen, Ernesto, I don't think you've ever met my man. I call him Gus. His name is Dr. Heath Broughton. That's my man. We've known each other since what, fourth grade, third grade?
Fourth grade, fourth grade.
Fourth grade.
Wow.
This is my dude. He holds me down always, always. So I'm glad to introduce him to you and whoever else from the show is able to join. And he's Gus is very opinionated, so he's definitely going to add a lot to the conversation, bro. And he's very raw. So I got a couple other people that's logged in as well, and as they come, I'll let them in. But Ernesto, let me know so I was telling everybody we haven't really been on since the pandemic or shortly after, right? What have you been up to over the last couple of years? I know I kept saying to the guys, because we have a group chat, we're going to get back on, we're going to start, and we never started. Now we're here, we're getting ready to start. I'm so happy you're able to join. What have you been up to for the last couple of years, Ernesto? What's been going on with you?
I would say 5-letter word, growth.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. And so where do you think is that growth happening from intentional efforts on your part,
Yes,
or has it just been life that's been forcing you to grow?
I would say both. They both both at the same time. Yeah, but it's definitely been intentional.
Nice. I love that, man. Love it. And
hey, can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me?
yes,
sure
I can.
can.
I can't see you, but I can hear
You
you.
can't see me, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there I go. All right, good. I'm good.
There you go.
I was eating some chicken wings. I gotta be honest. So, and I might be eating a little bit of chicken wing. I got a little bit left. All right.
Do what you got to do, bro. Do what you got to do. John Johnson, of course, that's my dude. We do a lot of work together. I love this guy. First of all, so Ernesto, you know John, right?
It's my man.
Of course, dude. Pastor Darren, I don't know if you've ever met John Johnson and my man Heath Broughton, Dr. Heath Broughton. I call him Gus. So I'm gonna listen. This is the last time I'm introducing you as Dr. Heath Broughton, Gus. I'm just gonna call you Gus. That's what I call you. All right. So, but Pastor Darren, these are my dudes. They're gonna be joining the conversation with us, and I'm happy you're able to join. Listen, I know you. It's a Sunday, and I know you have a lot of pastoral responsibilities. So I appreciate you jumping on with us tonight, too, man.
Hey, good evening. Can you guys? I'm having an issue here with my camera. Do you see me live, or am I frozen?
You're frozen and you're dark.
Yeah.
Okay, so
play around with it a little bit. Yeah, play around with it a little bit. See if you're able to. Gus, I see a fork in your hand. You eating too. John's eating. Gus is eating. I didn't eat dinner yet.
That's personal.
Pastor Darren, I know you're frozen, but if you could hear us, I was asking Ernesto, what has he been up to since we were on last? I think it was either during the pandemic or shortly after. What have you been up to, man?
I've been thinking about you a lot, Ernesto, because I've been in this this substitute teaching education thing, and for some reason God will not let me out of it.
Wow.
I really enjoy your Substitute Chronicles, man.
Man, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. Oh my God. the American public school system is the mission field of the United States.
I love that.
Repeat that.
The American public school system is the mission field of the United States.
I like that,
Okay,
bro.
Ernesto, am I lying?
You ain't lying, man.
Okay, now
You-
And
wanna
Dr. Darren, just so you know, Gus is in the school system as well.
okay, now
And I was in the school system. I was special ed teacher.
oh God, Jesus. Okay,
Huh?
and you survived. Well,
I survived.
You definitely got a David anointing on you.
Yes, he does.
Okay, so I want to go a little bit deeper. I hope I don't get in trouble because I don't know what we're supposed to be doing here. But
Just everybody know we're live, so whatever we say is going out to the world.
Because you know what, this is therapy for me, man. This is my Luke 24 situation.
Yes.
You know, Jesus walked along the disciples on the Emmaus Road, and a lot of people don't realize that was therapy. But anyway, I'm okay. Okay, Darren, chill. Okay, so I had a conversation with someone. I've been sharing with them my observations and stuff that I've been dealing with working in American public school. And Jesus help me. I hope I don't get in trouble, Thurston. You know what? If I'm going too far out there, reel me in, bro. Okay.
Absolutely, we got you, bro. We got you.
Okay. I hope you got airbag. Okay. The American public school system is doing a level of damage that is exponentially superseding our penal system.
Oh wow. Wow.
Ernesto, I saw your eyebrows go up. Help a brother out. Help a brother. And he's grabbing the glasses. Okay.
Yeah, no. I want you to flesh that out, brother.
Yep.
Am I way out there? Just
No. Let's
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so policies. Good God Almighty! I wish I could unfreeze this thing. Okay, at least y'all can hear me. Policies, philosophies, administrative approach, just the whole 9 yards has created this environment, man, where number one, the kids have too much power. Okay, number two, there's no accountability. And there's no consequence. Okay. So number three, and because I work with high schoolers, what they're doing to them in the long run, in my opinion, is criminal. Because now, because you have not prepared these kids for the real world, and you've given them this construct that is not real the day after graduation, and for some of them, the day of graduation, they have a crash course with reality because no employer, no college professor, or no other situation is going to allow you to get away with what they allowed you to get away with in high school.
Wow.
And we know, okay, when an individual is not prepared to function and operate properly within the confines of organized civilization, then they resort to other means that are not appropriate, that are not correct, in order to quote unquote survive and get through. And in my estimation, based on what I've been dealing with, we are actually breeding this by what the American public school education system has become.
Wow.
So you're talking my language. I could write a dissertation on my experience with the New York City public school system, being a special. I've worked in every borough except for the forgotten borough, which is Staten Island. And I've worked with high school kids in inner city, in the black neighbors. I wanted to go into black and brown communities and deal with the quote unquote, I call them, they call them like throwaway kids, because these are the kids that have been labeled special ed, which I hate that label. They'll put them in, they'll put, 10 of them in the room by themselves, and I had high school kids that were reading on, say, the third grade level, but they wanted those kids to pass the Regents exam at the end of the year. And you're wondering why these kids are throwing spitballs at you, at teachers and stuff like that, because it's unfair to the kids to do that. But these schools are getting money for these kids, right? And
Okay.
okay, I see. Right? Okay. So my thing was, right, when
Jesus.
I had such a contract with my kids, if a kid, I felt like if a kid who never raised his hand and was really just really angry and stuff like that, if I got him to calm down and raise his hand and be respectful and stuff like that by the end of the semester, that was a success for me. But it wasn't a success for the principal, right? And so I had many fights with principals and superintendents, as they really didn't care about these kids. And I got thrown out of the school, I'll be honest, because I was fighting for, and I was disagreeing with the principal and all that stuff. But there's so much to say about that and my experiences with being discontinued because I fought with the superintendent and all that. So I wound up leaving the school system and going into non-for-profit and working at the Boys and Girls Club, where we were teaching kids more of a holistic approach than just teaching a kid for the
just for passing tests.
So I'm with you. I think we're all educators here, so I know we've all had experiences with that. So I'm with you, Darren. I'm with you. And the American system is horrible. And I'm gonna shut up here and just listen.
Ernesto, I want you to chime in, Ernesto, and then I definitely, Gus, I want to make sure that I give you a chance because I want to highlight some of this other work that you're doing because I think it's right up the alley. But Ernesto, what are your thoughts on what Pastor Darren was sharing?
I think that the public school system is not prepared for the students who are coming into the building. I think that the teachers are taught to teach math, but not necessarily how to deal with some of the issues our students are coming in with.
Absolutely.
And then to make it even greater, a lot of the families that these and the homes that these students are coming from, they have difficulty also dealing with some of the issues. So, in order to be effective, to be an effective educator, a lot of it is a lot of psychology and the way how you have to get these children engaged might be a bit more challenging. And there's many reasons for that. But I just, all in a nutshell, it's just the system isn't prepared for the students coming in, and also the administrators and what they're held accountable for doesn't match sometimes with what's truly needed.
Right.
And I think that's how the system perpetuates itself. I was talking to a colleague, and with this, I was talking to a colleague just Friday, and he made a comment. He said, they should call the Department of Education the Department of Labor.
Ooh.
Because it's really the goal isn't to educate the children, really is to get them ready to position in some way in the labor market.
To be laborers.
To be laborers, not managers, to be laborers. And which is very important. And the American system has always been like that. You could actually see the type of teaching or education based on the zip code. There's books written on it. It's one of the reasons why I never officially became a teacher. I'm sorry I didn't, but I wanted to be a part of this. I wanted to affect the system without being part of the system. But yeah.
So Darren, I see all your questions, bro, and great questions. I'm gonna bring them up on screen. Gus, are you still there?
Of course.
So listen.
Erskine, before you.
Yes, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, D.
They're questions designed to make a statement. Let me just say that.
I got it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
100%. 100%. And I definitely want to get to each and every one of them. I was talking about Gus because Gus, just give a brief overview of your organization. And I know we've been talking about your what is the pipeline program that you're working on that your brothers involved in, and give your feedback on what Pastor Darren was talking about, like the school system is really if I stated wrong, Darren, let me know. You were saying that the school system is doing as much or even more damage than the prison system at point.
Exactly.
I don't think that they're doing much damage. I think they're all bilateral. That's why
feedback. Okay, hold on.
This is why I have a movement going on to stop the pipeline, which is the pipeline of prison prevention. I'm 25 years out of a guidance counselor. I've worked in juvenile correction as well as social work. So in all those journeys and tasks, I look back and saw what was the problem. So my major project right now, as a part of the pipeline, is literacy. When I was a counselor, my last year, I think I was a senior counselor. I had 12th graders that was on a 4th grade reading level. So I'm saying to myself, how the hell can they pass a Regents exam when the Regents exam is written on the 8th grade level? and there's no way you can get around that, But like the brother said, that I saw so many kids on graduation day have no plan, So when Monday comes, they don't have shit to do, and it bothered me because I'm like, wow, there was kids who wouldn't even come inside the building to get their graduation diploma. They'll come Monday next week or whatever it might have been. So they didn't have a goal, you know what I mean? So it's difficult to state what are you going to do for them and how can you really help them? And I don't want to blame the parent because a lot of times it was before that kid was here where that problem existed. Those parents don't have a relationship. They just had sex, Then the women get mad when the man don't want to be a part of that because he was just trying to get some ass. He wasn't trying to make a family, and the girl knew that, but it becomes a problem. And so the kid doesn't understand that. So when it becomes a reality, he's upset, she's upset, but yeah, she contributed more than anything else. So she's playing get back, he's playing get back, and the kid suffers. I deal with kids every day. Right now, I have a position in school suspension, but it's not punitive, it's restorative. And so when I'm in there, I made a questionnaire up. We're gonna talk about how you got here. What did you do? What do you recall? What are your plans? I don't want to see you in here every damn day. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to send you home because that's what you want to do. So my journey has always been just to make sure that these kids understand what they're going through, and doing such, I tap into brothers like Thurston and John, and we talk, and it's like, this is what's going on that they don't want to talk about, and then when you got to go through the red tape because you're an employee and not an employer, it makes it even harder because I got interviewed for a position in attendance, and I'm sitting there like, these motherfuckers is interviewing me, and they have not a clue, and my credentials supersede all of them put together, but they have the right to make a choice of me and my employment, what I bring to the table. So I have a real problem. So I had to go out and create a nonprofit and a profit called Man in the Mirror, which I go out and I make sure that those people who have no voice, or they do have a voice but don't know how to use it, I can put them in a position. We do parenting classes. And starting in January, we have a after school academy at night from 6 to 8 on Wednesdays and Thursdays. We offer free tutoring. We offer basketball recreation. We have meditation, mediation. We have step aerobics. But we also have in-house people who come in and they talk to our kids. And they talk about workforce development and flying drones with the government, get them an OSHA 30 card. So we're just addressing the need, because if I'm telling you I'm going to give you apples and you don't want no apples, you want oranges, you ain't hearing nothing that I'm saying. And it just creates a chaotic place. And that's what we're trying to get them from being in that chaotic place. So I offer and extend everything to you guys. My website is themitm.com. You can see the things I've done and are doing to help create a place that these kids don't have to feel the way that they feel. I'm not judging them. I'm just saying, listen, this is what you want to do. How do I help you get there? You got to put the work in, not me. And I think I feel great when I said I'm not happy for school, because I know those kids have worse problems when they're not in school. So over the summer, I know that the kids didn't eat after 12 o'clock in the noon. So I had an evening program from 5 to 7 where they came out and ate. I had 150 kids that we were feeding every night. You know what I mean? Because it's not fair. So now we keep addressing their need. Somebody hopefully who got a deep pocket and then want to buy into what we're doing, and understand that this is what it is. All these kids right now is looking for Christmas. But what happens after the 25th? They don't have shit to do.
It's back to business as usual. So, but let me jump in here and because I want to bring in Randy and Ray. Thank you guys for jumping on. And you can sort of hear what we're talking about. And Pastor Darren, I put one of your questions on there, the money part. It's all about it was all about meeting the metrics of the money, right? And then we talk about, I know this is something that's close to everyone's heart when it comes to educating our kids, is for me, it's how do we create a level of consistency in these additional things, like all the stuff that you talked about, Gus. All of the programs, all the things that we teach people is great at the moment. But something you said is important. Somebody has feedback. You think so it doesn't feedback. But how do we create consistency in these additional services, these holistic approaches that we have? Because first of all, I believe they're sort of like gatekeepers to, and I don't know if you guys have this in Department of Education. I'm in the city. I'm assuming you do, Ernesto, but they're sort of gatekeepers to these type of programs, right? You have to be invited in, you have to be let in. And I think a lot of the work that we bring is very important, but if they don't let you in the door, you don't have access to the kids, right? You can
yes,
try
you
to
do.
do community.
Yes, you do.
How do you do that?
You kick the fucking door down.
You can't just kick the door down. I told y'all, Gus is a rebel. You can't just kick the door down. We have to have a plan.
All right, let me change that. We kick the door down by creating external programs where we don't have to go to the red tape. We the Black Panther Party, so we do it our own ways. We get our own funding.
We do it like door down, but you're creating your own environment for it, right? So okay, let me pause for a second. Randy, what's going on, my dude? Randy, and you doing, for you guys that don't know, Randy's wife was a principal in the city, correct? In the city Department of Education system, right, Randy?
Yeah.
So I know you've heard a lot of some of the stuff we're talking about. And Ray, for some reason, I'm thinking that you teach or something like that. Did you teach in the school system?
Yeah, I used to teach theater, musical theater in the schools.
Okay, so you're familiar with Department of Education as well.
Yeah, I'm familiar with them. Now, times has changed from when I was doing it. So, things are a little different. But yeah, I was in the school system, yeah.
Okay, all right. And so just briefly, I mean, you've heard a little bit of what we're talking about. And Pastor Darren, I want you to share your question again so we make sure that we tap into exactly what we're trying to just discuss or tap into tonight around what you see happening on a regular basis and the fact that the education system, if not done correctly, may be doing more harm than good. right? Am I correct in stating? And I think Pastor Darren may have stepped on. Oh yeah, there he is. There he is. So, Pastor Darren, what do you think? Restate your question one more time for everybody.
So, my question was, well, it actually wasn't a question; it was actually a statement
Okay.
based on my observation that the American public school system is doing more damage now than the penal system. Okay, and it's just from my observations. And here's the interesting thing. You know, I don't know if you guys remember, and I'm just going to share this for the benefit of the brothers that I just met tonight. Dr. Broughton, how do you say his last name? Dr.
Broughton.
Dr. Broughton, the warrior, John Johnson. I'm going to call him the warrior. And Brother Trini Ray, bless you. Hey, Pastor Randy, so good to see you, man.
Hey, sir, how you doing?
Good. So the interesting thing is, if you all remember, I went back to school after 32 years and finished my degree at Hofstra. And education was not on my radar. I thought I was going back to corporate America and just be like a dynamo. Right? And God just closed every door. Even the company I left, Northwell, was pro-education. They were so excited I was coming back. Get in touch with us when you finish. We'll go from there. I got in touch with them. Nothing. I even met a VP of HR who gave me specific instructions to follow and said, do this, do that, do this, and we can get you in. I did what she told me to do. Nothing. And I realized, God had closed that door. And I have a saying, when God has you on lockdown, don't pick the lock. So the only door that would open is education, this substitute teaching thing. So I went with it because I had to make money. Well, now I'm still working in Nassau County in the Freeport School District where I live, but Michael Corleone, the Godfather, said, just when I thought that I was getting out, they pulled me back in. Well, now they done pulled me into the New York City DOE, so I'm in between.
Oh, wow.
I'm in deeper. And what I'm seeing is this thing has intentionality and an agenda and a design, okay, to create worse than laborers. Worse. Now, let me tell you, I'm gonna give you an example. The reason why I said it's all about meeting the metrics for the money. October, I believe it was October 20th, it was a Monday at 2:17 p.m. I get a phone call from the attendance office. Okay, I hope y'all got airbag, man. I get a phone call from the attendance office. Mr. Butler, we need you to come down. So I come down. They show me the roster of the class I had covered for that day. I had wrote student cut. Student came first 5 minutes, then asked for a pass to the bathroom, didn't come back. So I changed their attendance denomination, the attendance code, thank you, and I marked them cut. And I wrote on the attendance sheet why. Because see, I've learned you ask for a pass to the nurse's office and I don't see no blood, you cutting. Okay? That's what you're doing, you cutting. Okay, and then I called down to the nurse's office. I give you 10 minutes to get there. I called down the nurse's office, did so arrived? Nope, never came back, cut. I walk into the office and the attendance personnel says to me, you can't do that anymore. I can't do that. Student came in, only there 5 minutes, left, never came back. They cut. They don't want you doing that anymore. If they come to the class and show up and sit down and you mark them present, you have to leave it that way, even if they leave afterwards.
They need to get that money,
right,
bro.
Hello. So hence my
well, it's more than, in that case, it's more than just money. It's also attendance. So that part is not the money part.
Okay.
That part's more.
Ernesto, hold on. Maybe in DOE it's not, but in Freeport,
that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about DOE.
Yeah, no, this is happening in Freeport, and
Oh.
and I was told that that's what it's about. Okay, now this is what I'm getting to. Okay, we are literally selling our children down the river, because what are you saying to a kid, right? For them to come to the class and then cut and not be held accountable to it. That's not life. And I'm just seeing the principle across the board. This whole, I don't know if you guys have been noticing. I noticed about 7 to 8 years there was a trend that was shifting in industries, all, and not just in education, but industries where we were more concerned about meeting a metric for the profit margin. Okay, doctors who had thriving personal practices all of a sudden started getting bought out by these large conglomerates. Okay, and they were being made high-priced employees. Let me tell you why I know what I'm talking about. Because I have a family member who is a doctor, practices in Atlanta, and she was working for a partnership. They owned this practice. Okay, the majority partners sold out to this conglomerate. They became high-priced employees, and it was all about them meeting certain metrics. They had to be able to sign off certain things they've done each day with the patients. Mind you, there wasn't no care involved. Just as long as you could say you did this, you did, it became like a factory just pushing them through, not meaning. So this whole metric thing, and it bothers me with our children. It bothers me. See, I'm not just a substitute teacher, I'm an educator, because I'm there to make an impartation to them to help them succeed in life. And so when I see things like what Brother John Johnson talked about and Dr. Broughton, 12th graders, 4th grade reading level, and can't even pass an 8th grade Regents. See, that bothers me, because they see there's something wrong with that. And quite frankly, brothers, it's criminal. Somebody really needs to go to jail behind this stuff, man, because what are we doing to our young people? And so many days I struggled and I asked God, why did you bring me back here? Why? And here's another thing. It's a financial sacrifice, because if folk ain't getting rich off of education, unless they get to certain levels, but you ain't getting rich. So I'm like, I got a good degree. Hofstra has, that's a strong name behind it. It's a good degree. Why am I here? Ernesto, I've tried to become a teacher. As a matter of fact, they have a pathway now that you can travel to get certification. It's called transitional certification. Become a teacher. I traveled the pathway, did everything I was supposed to do, and still they won't hire me. So I'm like, God, what's going on? He said, I got you there because I need somebody to make some kind of positive contribution to these kids on our life level. And that's why you're there, Darren. Let's go a little bit deeper. 2 years ago, I'm in my 4th year in the building now, okay? And I'm just watching what's going on. And then I had an epiphany one day. I said, God, these are the babies of the babies, Dr. Broughton. These are the babies of the babies. In other words, these kids, their parents had them when they were not ready. So instead of raising them, they're trying to be their friend. And now they send them to the school, and educators can't be educators because they're now trying to also be parents. That's not their job. And so now we got this perfect convergence of a firestorm of circumstances that's contributing to this whole thing that is basically, you talk about it, injustice. It is mentally, psychologically, emotionally, educationally, raping, molesting, and hamstringing our children.
So I have another question. Does it feel like, and a lot of you have been in education for a while, right? In it or around it. Does it feel hopeless?
Okay, right there. So and Ernesto, Brother Johnson, Dr. Broughton, Brother Trini Ray, and Randy vicariously, because you live with an educator. So you got brought into this. You had no choice, right? We are the kind of individuals who care. We just can't walk into this environment and just shut it off. We care. So I have a brother who's the head of a history department in the Baldwin School Department. Okay, you know Michael Thurston. Yes. Michael's been in it forever. You know, my baby brother, I'm so proud of that kid. There's another story behind that. But anyway, I call him when I deal with stuff. And he said, Darren, he said, your problem is you care. Mm-hmm. He said, your problem is you care. And because of where we came from, and you having a conviction about seeing to it that other kids don't deal with what we deal with, that's why you struggle with what you see. He said, but let me help you. He said, let me help you. He said, you have to accept the fact that you're dealing with a machine that you yourself will not be able to change. He said, but however, he said, keep in mind that as long as you know you do the best that you can do to affect positively one student at a time, then you're doing what you're supposed to do. And so, Thurston, that conversation took me from my hopelessness, my cynicism, my pessimism, my skepticism, to realizing, okay, you know what? It's not my job to save the world. And of course, as a pastor, you know I really felt it, because we're in the business of what? Saving souls. But it's not my job to save every soul. All right? It's only my job to minister to the souls that God allows to come across my path and leave the results up to him. And so I had to realize the same thing with education. It's not hopeless if, when I maximize the opportunity that I get to come across a kid and I see things, okay? Sometimes I see myself. I know what it is to be raised in a uniquely headed household. I hate the term single parent. I hate it, okay? There's a stigma with it. I don't like it. I say a uniquely headed household. I know what that is. It has a look to it. It has a sound to it. It has a smell to it. And when I see it, and I see a kid that's dealing with it, I'm going to speak to it. I'm going to give that kid something to help them, all right?
And so this is the thing. Even with, go ahead, John.
I want to jump in real quick, Pastor Darren. I think that, you know, in order for me and you, for me not to be discouraged, is to realize that just your mere presence in that building is a positive step towards helping kids. The kids that you're not teaching, that they're not in your class, but they see you, how you carry yourself, and they see the way you're talking. They are getting something out of that, out of you just being there. So it was important for me to go to these schools. I was in schools where it was these little white girls from the suburbs coming that really didn't care about our kids. And they dressed, I mean, they was dressing in shorts and t-shirts, but I came in there with a jacket, and the kids noticed that. And they saw they saw a black man. So I had to say that, yeah, if I looked at all the negative and I'm not doing anything, I'm not helping, I would have been discouraged. But I am helping, and you are helping. So it's good that just on the level of people looking at you, that you don't even realize that you're making a difference in their life.
And so we have to settle for, because I believe the same way. I believe that everyone I come in contact with, if I have the opportunity to speak into their life, to encourage them, to inspire them in any kind of way, like we all know this. You never know who you're speaking to. It may be that individual. It may be that individual's child. I think generationally, right? If I can impact a young person today, or even an older person, that impacts the way that they speak to their child, raise their child, the way they engage with their child, I'm impacting that child as well, right? And so you have to really, like, but I hate feeling like we're resigned to that, because I do want to change the world, right? I know it may be, and that's where that question comes from. Of course, I'm not. I'm never hopeless. I'm a man of God. I know that God can do anything, and there's always hope. But I want to change the world. I want us to change the world, to change our community, to change our environment, to change the way that the environment that these children are raised in. And a lot of that comes from how we engage with the parents and the community leaders and all of that. And it gets, I'm gonna be honest, it gets frustrating. It gets very, very frustrating. Ray, go ahead, jump in, man.
No, this is all good. So for me, I work well, or have worked with kids also outside of the musical theater part. I've also had to work with kids when they come around sexual health
Mm,
education as well,
yeah.
right? Because I work in HIV care, right?
Mm,
So
mm,
I deal with kids that come to us that me and the doctors have to give a HIV or AIDS
Mm,
diagnosis to.
Jesus.
And they usually start from the age of 12. So
wow.
usually when a kid comes into the doctor, we are not allowed to call the parents, right? We
Even
they
at
have
12 years old, Ray?
at 12 years old we
That's
can't
correct.
call
Yeah.
because it's HIPAA, and then also they get their own insurance to cover their medication, right?
Hmm.
So one of the, I think even in education, I think that's something that lacks because the expectation is not for a kid to have sex, right? But we all know, we all have been kids, so we know that doesn't really happen. And what happens is even with not education within the school, they're teaching them in a way where it's not even interesting, or they'll just give them the bare minimum. They're not understanding STDs. They're not understanding how HIV is contracted. They don't really know these things. They give them condoms so they could go Snapchat and take pictures to look cool because they got condoms, but they're
Mm,
not really educating them about it. They're not telling them that you have to be careful. And there's even medication because, again, we don't encourage kids to have sex, but we understand that they would do what they want to regardless. So what
Mm,
we try to step in is offer preventative methods for them to not contract these things because, believe it or not, the rates are high amongst Black and Latino. Keep in mind, everybody else is at the bottom of the food chain.
uh-huh.
Black race and Latinos, we up at the top of the food chain. And so there's a lack of education around that. So whereas like sometimes they come in and especially from a teenager dealing with a child that has been diagnosed with HIV, and then we have to try to find out who their partner is. And a lot of times they'll come in, they'll have a mental breakdown, they may run out the clinic, they may be scared, or somebody may find their pills and their backpack in the
Wow.
school, and now parents are coming to the school because they don't want their kids around someone who has it. It's just it's a ripple effect. It's a lack of education, and I think it's something that again strategically we have to be able to add into also with everything else that's being done. Sexual education is one of the major things that needed to be added in that, and because the education system is only going to set them up to fail if you really look at it.
Uh-huh.
If you really look at it, they'll set them up to fail. So we got to try to find ways to also throw that in there.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Love it. Randy, I thought
that part.
I saw you sitting up. I don't know if you have anything to share, bro, but I want to make sure I give you space, bro.
Yeah. So just listening to everybody, and because I am married to an educator, even though she's retired, she's
Mhm.
still an educator,
Absolutely.
and her heart goes out to it. And so I just look back on all the stories that my wife and all the battles that she went through. First of all, she realized when she got to the school, and her school was in the Rockaways. So she was dealing with a whole nother level in the Rockaways.
Yep.
But and some of her peers was telling her, "You too good to be here. Why you want to be here?"
Good God.
And her heart and felt where God wanted her to be was because these kids need to be educated. Now, so when she got there, she saw how things was running. The school was known as the school of no. They had no books. They had no this. They had nothing. Rachel comes in there now, and I tell you, I think that she got rid of 90% of her staff just off the bat. And she did it through doctoring. From the day that she walked in, she started doctoring everything. She didn't give no breaks. She gave you a break, but she still doctored it. She
Yeah.
still
Right.
because you got to have that paper trail. And before she made her move, she would send it to the school lawyer, Board of Education lawyer, for him to read it to see if it would stand.
Right.
And so it did stand, and they allowed it to stand. And so they said, okay, so she went through it, and she realized a lot of those teachers did not want to work. They was not kind of educating. So then Rachel now, my nephew was going to the school. I think he was like in the 4th grade or something like that, and couldn't read. His mother was upset. So Rachel said, leave him here, and I'll make sure he read. So now she always used the funds because everything comes down to money. No matter how you look at it, it's going to come down to money. But she used what she had. And so she would bring in outside reading programs from places like Hofstra and things like that. But they would fight her on it because they were saying the Board of Education, we have programs like that. But they wasn't doing what they supposed
They're
to
not
do.
doing the job, right?
Because these people will come in there for about an hour or whatever. They don't pull out the teachers. They don't pull out the students. So she brought in a whole different private sector using the Board of Education money. And so she started doing all these things, and these kids started learning. They had another lady that came from a whole nother district to bring her kids on the bus. She rode with her kids on the bus to my wife's school, and she said, because my kids know how to read. So she was affecting these kids' lives. And she was making sure, as you was a teacher, I would have people say, man, why don't you have ask your wife for a job? I said, you don't want to work for my wife. I tell them straight up, you don't want to work for her. Because if you come there, she's going to make you work. And I don't want you blowing back on me because she's going to make you dot every I and cross every T.
Right.
And even to the point that her teachers, when her teachers would leave school, go to other schools, they would come back just to, or call her and tell her thank you. Because now they was being like head teachers in the school because of what she put them through. So she elevated everything. But what we found out that a lot of the stuff that she was doing, they would fight her on it because it all boils down to money. So, down in the Rockaways, they had a hard attendance record. Kids just was not coming, and they trying to find out why. And you coming up with all these different programs and trying to do all these things, and parents was not coming. So we said, you know how you want to make kids come? Tie the attendance to the parents' check. If you get where it's to the point that if your kids miss so many days of school, this is what's going to happen to your funds. And I guarantee they will be
They'll
there.
start getting there. Yep.
They will make sure those kids get there. And so you have all the different things. And then you got to deal with the parents. Parents want to fight other parents. Parents want to fight students and all this kind of crazy stuff. But the most thing that we learned that children, they know when someone cares. And that's all they need. You're not going to affect everybody. But there's some people that are there, some kids that are there, that if you can maybe get a group, start a group just to mentor or just to pour into some of the kids' lives and stuff like that, that you know and you see them doing what they're supposed to do. Maybe you can try to do like an after school program to start as a mentoring thing to allow where you can be able just to pour into those kids. So because like I said, that's the heart of it. They know children are not like we think they are, like they don't know nothing. They know and they
They
see
know.
when they really genuinely care. And that's all you need is somebody that see them from where they are. And that's why for me, when you see Pastor Darren and stuff like that, and yeah, it's frustrating, but you can't look at it on a large scale. You know, it's like God is doing what he needs to do. Look, we are just called to be a light. And one thing about light, light will always expel the darkness. And people are always going to come to the light. It's just a mindset. If you're in a dark room and you turn on a candle, everybody going to draw to that light. Your job is to be a light. The teachers, when my wife was at another school, they came into her one day and they told her, they said, you know, you making us look bad. Because she was doing all the things, even from her bulletin board. She took time to make sure her classroom was done. She had students, she had where parents, they had what they have, the Eagle program, right? My wife didn't have the Eagle program, but her class was outshining the Eagle program. And so, because these kids were performing at a level, or because she was pouring what they need to pour into them. A lot of it has to do with having the teachers. Some of them are just for the check, and they really don't care. They live out there in the boondocks, so they drive to some of these inner city schools, and they really don't care. And so, if you don't have and make sure that they doing their job, and a lot of time I have like principals that's just sitting back and not doing what they need to do because everything is about the test now. The test, we got to do the test. We got to get the test scores up. So they don't care about nothing else. They ain't that this is nothing from the day that they're walking on the first day. It's about the test scores. And so this is what they're looking at. And so you basically fighting against the system. That was one of the reasons why she's like, you know, she left and retired early because she got tired of the foolishness that was going on and what she saw and what the school system was happening, what was happening with the school system. And so you know, so you can't try to fight it on a bigger scale. You can only do it a little bit at a time.
So,
lucky when she got there, she was able to do what she did. And those teachers knew that she wasn't playing. So either you straighten up or you was out of there looking for a job.
Right.
So she never really wanted to take anybody license. She never did that.
What was she? Elementary school, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but she never really wanted to take anybody license. She was just like, you know, you leave the door. You know, there's a door, and a lot of them would take off, and they would go find when that time of, you know, where you can put in to transfer to another school or whatever. Some of them did, but those that stayed, even them, they was doing stuff that other schools wasn't doing because Rachel was on top of it so much. And she was making sure that you were going to be she was making sure that your what is it that they have to do every week?
Lesson plan.
Yes, lesson plans. She come in there and she's sitting there and she reviewing, you teaching, and you somewhere off. She's like, let me see your lesson plan. And this is not what you teaching. This is not what you saying. And she just began to demonstrate stuff like that. So it was a lot. You know, when you're dealing with nursery and kids and kindergarten kids, some teachers are not trained to it. But when she was doing it, she said, look, you got to make sure there's something planned every hour. because you can't give them a break because you're a loser. And this is the thing. I'm finished. She would have on this like worship instrumental music in her classroom, and so and she would just be playing, and the kids doing their homework, and she said, "Do you want me to turn the music off?" No, 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 leave it on. But it'd be a quiet, calm. Teachers used to come in her classroom and sit during a break.
Wow.
Because it smelled fresh. It had a quiet calm to it. It felt like peace. And they knew that they had to have a break. So they would come sit in her classroom because that's how she just set it up. And every year she would take every kid picture, put it on the wall, and put it on the front door. And she had this sign says, "There's greatness in me." Right. And so when they went in the classroom, they would touch their picture and they had to say their greatness in me. And when they went out, they said there's greatness in me. So she was imparting all these things in them, and she succeeded. But then you got to deal with all the bureaucrats because of the
Randy,
hierarchy. That's where the problem comes in. That I got this lump of money that I can put for this, but I could only use it for this.
Yep.
Or else they take it from you.
Right.
So she had to do it and stuff like that. So this is what I feel that it is, that when people that in positions, when you are in those schools and whatever you are there for a reason. And you're not there maybe to save the whole school. But I realized one thing: you were somewhere along the line. That child is going to say, "I remember I had one teacher in my life named Mr. Darren Butler, who cared about me. I had one teacher named Mr. Ernesto. He cared about me. I'm here today because of them."
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, and that's
Randy,
where we want to go.
This is the thing. Thinking about everything that you just shared, I think the system is designed and it relies on human nature to take effect. Like you talk about how effective Rachel was in that school system and the light that she brought. And like you said, people are drawn to the light. If you're in darkness and there's a light, you're drawn to it. Except the people that flourish in darkness. They don't want the light to shine.
Right.
They don't want the light shining on how they're operating. And somebody said something earlier. It's not a lot of money that people are fighting over or making poor moral judgments. If you're talking about screwing kids over for an extra $6,000, something's wrong with you. That's not money. That's nothing compared to what's out there. If you are able to really impart wisdom, hope, and all this into these children, right? And so I think they rely, like you said, Rachel got frustrated with the BS, right? And so she has the ability to step away. Now that school, that specific school, and the overall system has lost someone that not only cares, but has the knowledge to really design systems that can benefit the children and the parents and the community. But now she's retired and she's living in Florida. Ain't no telling who stepped into her place or what they did or how the school's doing now, because they lost someone valuable because of the BS. And that's what I mean when I say it's frustrating for me, because I see this happening. And I know that there are a lot of us out there that have very valuable programs, curriculum, and all of that could benefit. But then, I mean, when you really, really, really get into the dirty side of it, it's almost like, okay, I'll write this, I'll approve your program if I can get a little bit off the top of what we're and listen, like who said it earlier? That's criminal. They need to be prosecuted. Was that you, Darren?
That was
They
Darren.
need to be prosecuted, bro.
But that's politics.
Yeah.
I know. It's maddening to me, man. And this is why people step away. Like, listen, I have a private practice. It's flourishing. I can give more time to my private practice, but I love my community. I want to help them. But over time, that frustration takes a toll, and it's just easier to walk away and do your own thing. And I think that's what a lot of people count on. I really do.
Thurston, in the DOE, they don't walk away. They stay until they retire so they can get their pension.
Wow.
And the problem is I started 28 years ago. I started in Far Rockaway High School.
Oh, wow.
So
you started in Far Rockaway?
In Far Rockaway High School. That's correct. And not only that, I was I worked for Safe Horizon when they had a children's division, and I did mediation. And we had programs all over the city, and it was my site that had the most mediations.
Wow.
And by the grace of God, the highest percentage of reconciliation. And trust me, it was all God. I would say that I learned in Far Rockaway that I noticed three types of teachers. There were the highly motivated ones who were great and who were innovative, and they were impactful with our children. Then there was the ones who they should have never been in education in the first place. They were there for the check. 28 years ago, that was the last of the tier 1 peoples. Those of you who are in education and DOE, you know what I'm talking about. Those guys were getting huge pensions, and they were just looking at the calendar. They couldn't give a ham and cheese about the kids. And then there were the ones that they were burnt out, totally burnt out. They didn't feel supported by the system. The children were becoming more challenging, and they lost themselves. And here's the thing. Walking into the building, you couldn't tell the difference between group 2 and group 3. They looked just alike, and they had the same negative impact for the children. Randy, for your wife, being a principal is not only a skill and a science, it's an art form. Because to know how to navigate and have the strength of personality and character to deal with that system and not lose direction on what's most important, because you can get caught up in the bureaucratic crap and lose and say, look, we got to get these numbers, we got to get this money so that we can do more programs, and not looking at the kids that are the casualties of what you're trying to do. Right. I would say this also about money. Next year, this time, we're probably having a maybe the same, but maybe a worse conversation, because the federal government is trying to get rid of Title I funding. Now, Title I funding goes by, remember the school lunch forms back in the day? Okay, so now everyone gets free lunch in New York City, right? But the thing is that they still have that. When parents fill that out, they use those stats to determine whether or not a school qualifies for a certain amount of money, federal government money. Now, I give you an example. Francis Lewis High School has 4,800 students, right? That's more than the population of some towns in mid-America.
Right.
Their Title I funding is $2 million last year. Right? They tried to cut that funding for this year, and the courts told the federal government that you can't take the money out because that was earmarked for this year. So there's no talking about what this money, when these schools do not have this money next year, what will happen, and how for principals like Randy's wife was back in the day, it makes their challenge even greater, because now they have to find the money to do these things, and they were barely making it happen.
Yeah.
Right. So in this case, I could say that, yeah, in many cases, yeah, it is intentional. But also, what I'm hearing is I'm listening to everything that's being said, and I'm like, there's no way a school building can deal with all the things that these kids are coming in. And it's not fair oftentimes to the educators to make sure that your teacher is your psychologist, your social worker, and your English teacher that's teaching you how to win, and to be honest with you, a parent.
Right.
I don't think that's fair. I think that Darren, how long you've been doing this? You've been doing this for what, 4 years now?
4 years.
Yeah, 4 years. Because I remember when you first started. All right. So I have lived long enough to see some of them Far Rockaway kids have kids that are older than what they were when I worked with them.
Wow.
And I want to give you a bit of encouragement, brother.
Ernesto, you don't look that old, bro.
Thank you.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. I mean, the gray hair is a fake, man. You don't look that old, bro.
But I just want to encourage you, man, because like what the brother said is absolutely true. You are impacting kids and in ways that they will never tell you. And you really just have to trust God that you are making an impact. And the truth of the matter is, you don't know what you've prevented because you can't quantify that. You know what I mean? You can't quantify what the brother's doing with these 12-year-olds. It cannot be understated, because they're still malleable at that age.
Right.
They're going through trauma that adults shouldn't be going through. And as a result, right? The good doctor, if I could call it Dr. Gus, and what he's doing, like he gets the students when the children, when all other things have failed before, and still working with them. And he's absolutely right what he says as far as with the families are concerned. And I don't know who said it about the children. You're dealing with children's children, right? Quite recently, I dealt with a parent who's dating, who's the mother is one of the kids that I worked with at Far Rockaway. And she remembered me.
Wow.
And the thing is that I don't remember her because she went into 2 mediations. I did 60 a month. So and the reason why I asked 4 years is 4 years, man. Let me tell you, you don't see the fruit, but trust me, brother. Especially as a black man in that system in a certain way. And we all know that men are very visual, especially when they're young and they see that. You make a statement when you walk in. Now, Darren, the thing about it is, especially with high school kids, they're going to test you. They're going to test you. But
they're going to find out whether or not they're going to pass or fail.
Well, here's the thing. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. And this is why it takes a team. Because Darren is absolutely right. because the system really doesn't make the consequences real, and life does not teach them that. What happens is, and some of the policies are well intentioned, but the most evil things that's ever been done in the history of this world had good intentions.
This is true.
So I
Very
think
true.
that,
Very true.
so I you know, so I think that it takes, to answer your question, Thurston, about the solution. This is the solution. The brothers that you have on the show,
Right.
including your private practice,
Yeah.
because you're help breaking, generational curses, that when these people have kids, they're not dealing with the issue that Dr. Gus talked about.
Right.
I have
I have a
A
question.
beautiful thing
wait,
is,
and I can't leave out the GOAT, John Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've literally seen and walked in the environments in where he worked. I've walked in that Boys and Girls Club. I've seen them
My
kids.
goodness. My
And
goodness.
let me tell you something. It's not, you can't be faint-hearted, bro. You
and you
can't.
know what the beautiful thing is? I've been around for a long time because I'm even older than Ernesto. When you have a kid who's 14 years old and they're like grumbling, oh, Mr. Johnson, I hate you, and all of that. And then you see them 15 years later and they come back and say, thank you, Mr. Johnson. I'm saying the things that you said to me, and I couldn't stand you then. So little things like that keeps me encouraged a little bit. And you never know, like someone said, what kind of impact you're making on those kids. And
Yeah.
it's important that we don't. I think every man worth his salt should be a mentor to a young person. Every woman should be a mentor, because we have wisdom that they need to hear and they need to experience, and not like get off my lawn type thing, but understand that what they're going through is different from what we are going through.
Yeah.
And they have to have a voice, because they always felt that I listened to them, and I did, but I gave them imparted my stuff, but also give them a voice to say, this is how we're feeling and all that stuff. So it's not for the faint of heart, but we gotta continue to, and you'll see, and it's maybe not massive, but if we affect one kid, that affects his family, and then his kids affect his family, we got to just keep it going like that.
I have a question, because a lot of what I hear you guys talk about, like especially the different type of adversities or trials that you guys face within the school system. I'm wondering if this has to do with I don't know if I'm saying it right, like um is it the level of poverty or the systematic racism that contributes, because especially when you guys are talking about funding, I'm sitting here thinking about work and the stuff that I have to do. Like y'all in the Department of Education, I'm dealing with the Department of Health.
Right.
And I'm realizing that we deal with a lot of the same things. It's just you guys are dealing with kids, I'm dealing with adults and kids. Right. So I'm realizing, and a lot of the stuff that I go they always yelling out funding, but yet we just got more money.
Right.
So what is this funding? Then you're buying unnecessary like brochures, like 9 times out of 10, a lot of my patients, some not a lot, but some may come there with literacy issues, like they're not able to read. So these products that you're giving them, they're not going to really, it's
They're gonna
not
get lost as
useful.
soon as they
The
walk out
products
the
that
door.
you right, the products that you're trying to give these people is not useful. Trying to get them to stay engaged in care is not useful. Providing an all inclusive environment and stop adding stigma is what's keep people away from coming in and taking care of their health. And I'm everything that you guys are saying, literally, I'm like, I deal with that from the white people up there. They don't care about, they don't even really know what I do. They just see the grant, the name, the numbers, and that's it. That's all
That's
they care about.
Yeah,
They're
just
not
make sure
really,
you have that report ready for us at the end of the month.
yeah, they're not caring
yes.
about the resources that is needed. And I'm realizing, and when you guys say the areas that you're working, like I work between the cities, so I realize that a lot of the areas, such as the Bronx or areas where there's a high population of minorities, these are the issues that they're having, and a lot of it that I hear you guys are saying is very just literally opposite of what I go through at work. And I'm just wondering, does this has to deal with systematic racism um or just high poverty areas that
Yeah. So listen,
To
Yes,
me,
to both.
yes, yes, to both. I love that, Ernesto. And so for
you know,
me, I definitely think we can place a lot of things, we can stamp a lot of things and say, oh, it's because of poverty, it's because of poverty, right?
Mhm,
And yes, we all know everything runs off of funding, money. We need money. But like you said, there is money being provided. But if
mhm,
the money is not being used properly, that's where it gets, I believe it's more systemic than just the behaviors that a lot of people place the blame of behaviors on poverty. And
mhm,
yes, poverty is a horrible thing. It is something that definitely affects us, but I believe the problems are more systemic than anything else, right?
mhm,
Of course, I mean, okay, you could say poverty, right? But if you gave everybody a certain, we all know this. If you just gave people money, okay, they're not in poverty anymore. But do they know how to use that money? Do they know how to navigate life with that type of money, or will they wind up with no money again in the next year, 2 years? There's studies done, and we all know a lot of winners. They normally run out of money, right?
Actually,
In our mind,
Years.
how could you
actually,
possibly have no money
actually,
left? You won $100 million, but if you don't know how to use money, you lose it, right?
but a lot of stuff
actually,
is
some of them wound up worse than what they
That's
were
right.
Absolutely.
before when they got it.
Yep.
mm,
I want to circle back a minute. First of all, Thurston, I didn't mean to open up a hornet's nest. I'm sorry,
No,
man.
it's all good, bro.
Oh, good.
It's all good.
Um,
Yo,
but
man.
see, I had to get this off my system because you brothers really helped me tonight, and I'm so grateful. Because you reminded me of something. See, I go to work every day in a suit and tie. Okay, except Sunday. I mean Friday. That's my dress down. And something happened one Friday, and you guys talk about the kids noticing. And see, I had to hear that to be reminded where my focus needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
I was walking through the hall in my casual, and one of the young ladies looked at me, and I said hello to her. Hey, so and so, how you doing? She didn't even say hello back. She said to me, "Where's your suit?" And I looked at her. I said, "It's Friday. I dress down on Fridays." And she looked at me and acknowledged it, but her look said, "Don't make a habit of this."
Wow.
You created an expectation. That was
And,
wonderful.
and what happened was a couple of weeks later, I was in the school and some young men saw me and they said, Mr. B, because I had them call me Mr. B.
Uh-huh.
They said, "You wear such nice suits. I would love a suit like that."
Mm.
A light went off.
mhm,
A light went off. And so there's a brother actually that I found through ICB that has this thing called That Suits You,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Yes.
where he
Yes.
partners with. So I'm trying to work something out with him so that he can come in and these young men get a suit. Why? Because I'm a big proponent of teaching our young people hood speak and head speak.
mm,
Okay. A lot of them know hood speak, but they don't know head speak. Okay, you put on the suit, you go to interview, just by virtue of the fact you had the suit on, you already got the job because you said something about yourself to that employer. Even if you're not skilled or trained, they will make the investment in you
and train you. Yeah,
exactly, because you have told them something about yourself. So I want to say thank you to you, brothers. Y'all have really helped me kind of recalibrate and thank you, Pastor Randy. Man, you look younger, man. Maybe I should move to Florida too.
Florida,
bro. And John, I think that what I always try to do is expose our kids to things that they're just not exposed to. Right?
There it is.
There were some kids in Brooklyn that had never been to Queens. Right? That's all part of their education, right? That's all. There were some kids that I took these kids, 10 kids, to Harvard and Yale and Wesleyan University. They had never been. They seen grass. They seen and open up our kids and expanding their minds and seeing there's other things that they can shoot to other than what is just around them. Seeing you in that suit and unconsciously say, "Oh, I can wear that suit." I didn't know because I never saw somebody wear a suit. All those things are so important. Little things that we may not pick up on, but exposed. Our kids are bright, they're smart. Forget about. Resources are so important. There's big resources in the white community. I go to schools on the Gold Coast of Long Island. Their public schools are like private schools, right? Because of the resources. Not because their parents want their kids to go to Harvard, Yale, and all that. So they're demanding certain things. So the teachers that teach in those schools better be making sure these kids and we have to demand that our teachers do the same thing. We want our kids to go to Harvard and Yale and not just SUNY, whatever, and not putting that down, but open it and say you can do this too, and you need to be our teachers need to be. And lastly, our parents. I had 105 kids, right, and I have a PTA, and I'm sure Nestor, you can talk to this. And out of the 105 students that I had, I get 5 parents to come to a PTA meeting, right, and those are the 5 parents whose kids are doing well, right? So all those things are part of the school system that we need to, and that doesn't take funding per se, but it does take a change in attitude and mindset.
Yeah, a mindset shit. So listen, y'all know how we do. We could stay on this thing all night. I'm trying to be responsible this time. I want us to make sure we don't go 2 and 3 hours. But I wanted to do this. First, I'm going to ask you guys a question, and I want to see if we could sort of wrap up with this. We talked about how our presence can impact individual students, right? I truly believe that the work that I do has an impact. I really do. I believe that young people see me, and from their engagement with me, they walk away with something. There are a couple of people that I know have had an impact on me. I wanted you guys to think about, and it doesn't have to be a teacher. It could be an uncle, a pastor, whatever. Think about a person that really impacted you and helped to shift your mindset or set you on the right trajectory in your life, and sort of just mention the situation and what they sort of meant to you. And again, we're trying to wrap up. By no means am I trying to do we're at 1 hour and 28 minutes. By no means am I saying an hour and a half, right? But let's say everybody take a moment. Think about, first of all, let me ask everybody on the call, can you in your mind identify someone in your past that has had that type of impact on you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know that I can, right?
Yeah. Real quick. I was fortunate.
You saw John. Go ahead.
Real fortunate. 1 minute. Fortunate to be involved with sports. So I had a lot of coaches that sowed seeds into me. I belonged to a lot of men's programs, teen groups, all that stuff, and even a priest
Wow.
that impacted me. But I was fortunate that the person who impacted me most was my father,
Wow.
right? And just seeing how he went about, how he got down. He was the first African American scholarship recipient in St. John history. He was civil rights. He was, and he never beat. I just watched how he got down, and I am, and plus I'm a junior too. I'm the third boy, but I don't know why I'm John Johnson Jr. I don't know what that meant. He never really explained that. But I'm following, and because of what I saw, I'm doing the similar things that he's doing because of what I saw, and I was fortunate in that respect. You know.
I love it, John. Love it. Who's next? Who's diving in next?
Okay, I'll go.
guess
What? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Cool. You go ahead, Ray. Go ahead, dive
Oh,
in.
I would say, well, I always got to make sure I acknowledge this individual, Lamont O'Neill.
Oh yes, I
You
do.
know, I was a part of New Gens of Feminine Fire, and I started back in high school my sophomore, junior year. And I'm forever grateful because I didn't really, you know how like family could be there, like you could grow up around family, but nobody raised you.
Mm-hmm.
You raise yourself. And
Yep.
I was that type of person that raised myself, a little boy from Trinidad. Like he gave me the opportunity to go around the world for $800, like which was
Wow.
unrealistic, to go to these countries and to experience different cultures and just to learn how character is such an important thing regardless of whatever it is that you do, whatever field of work you in. What was the principle? Gratitude determines relationships. So it's
Mhm.
like, you know, I'm forever grateful for him exposing me and then teaching me how to be the man that I am today, the man of character, the man of principle, and just how being a light in the room when you walk into a room was always something that he pressed upon us. So I'm forever grateful for him for allowing my passport to have tattoos.
I love it. I love that, Ray. That's awesome, man. And shout out to Lamont O'Neill, Minister
Yeah.
Lamont. That's my boy, man. I love
Hmm.
that dude. Man of character. Yeah, and he's been speaking into the lives of young men for a while. And so, yeah,
It wasn't an easy job. It was not.
it's not easy. Not
Over
Hey, what was
60.
your first mission trip? What year was that?
My first missions trip was
Two, right?
2006.
6?
Yeah, 2006. Australia was my first.
Oh, Australia was your first one.
Yeah, Australia was my first one, which
Wow.
was a new environment because I wasn't accustomed to being in such a disciplinary atmosphere, especially
Yeah,
dealing with
yeah.
different type of males from like I wasn't I never really meshed well with men. I always had like I didn't do good with males, so I
uh-huh.
just didn't trust
Most
them.
men are like
So
that.
Yep.
right. So I had to learn these different personalities because
Yeah.
times I was like, oh, I'm getting out of here. I can't. You got
Right.
a fine system. Fine. Where you taking my money for? That's my. So, you know,
Can I tell you something?
yeah.
So I did the first missions trip,
Mm.
99, 2000, 2001.
Europe.
Yes, Europe and South
Mm.
Africa, right?
Mm.
I have to admit, the fine that was my idea. That was my invention.
Oh, you.
Bro, that's wild, Ernesto.
Oh,
That's
look how
crazy.
life is like a circle. I meet the person who created the fine system that I hated.
Guilty as charged.
Listen.
Wow.
Oh.
All right, Ernesto, you're up next, bro.
So I haven't shared this, but I grew up in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and right upstairs, I lived right over a bar, and the floor above me were drug dealers.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's how I grew up. And there were times when I came home from school and I had to hold my breath because the hallway was all smoked up, and I run upstairs and go inside, and exhale,
Wow.
and I never once thought about even being a drug dealer, and that had to do with my mother, and with the assistance of my dad and my uncles, because my mom used to say, look, if you get too out of hand, your uncle's gonna come. And just really a short one. I remember I was with one of my uncles, and he barely remembers this, but I remembered it like it was yesterday. And we witnessed a man literally kick his woman out of the car,
Mm.
Jesus.
and she fell on the floor. And my uncle told me, stay here, and he was gonna go across the street. I don't know if the man saw my uncle coming, but he yelled at the woman, and the woman got up off the street, opened back the car door, and they drove away. And I remember my uncle used that as a lesson to me, and he said, that's no man. No man ever hits a woman. And while I pretty much probably would not have hit one anyway, but that seared
Mm.
in my memory, just those little impacts. But yeah, so it was my mom, my uncles, and Sister Ann. Went to Catholic school,
Sister Ann.
and
Wow.
yeah, Sister Ann. So
Wow.
yeah,
Love it. Love it. Love it. Who's up next? Who's up
sorry
next?
about the docs, man, brother.
For me, it was my high school chorus teacher, Miss Joy Peterson, who, by the way, was Caucasian.
Wow.
And
From the mountains of Caucasus.
I was fooling around on the piano one day, and she looked at me. She said, "You have a gift for this thing." She said, "I want you from now on to come into this room on your lunch period and bring whatever music you listen to and sit down and master this thing."
Mm.
And she said, "I'm going to be waiting for you at the beginning of the period. Don't be late, because this is my lunch period or you're going to be in trouble with me."
Wow.
And I came to that room every fifth period. I had to sacrifice my lunch period and sat down at a Steinway concert grand piano. And that's how I learned how to play. And you talking about a defining moment that set a trajectory in someone's life, that was it. Miss Joy Peterson,
Love it.
my high school
Love
chorus
it.
teacher.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Excellent. Who else? Randy and Gus. Who's next?
Um, I'll go. So I was basically say it was my father who invited me to church, and the church taught me everything else.
Right.
It taught me how to deal with people. It strengthened my character, my integrity. It helped me to deal with everything, to understand folks and people, disappointments, hurts. Um,
Mm.
so it affected me to becoming where I had a choice
Mm.
to become a man of integrity, of good character, to love God, and um and that kind of like shaped everything about me.
I love
You
it.
know, was I would say the church, the things that I've been through, the
Mm-hmm.
things I've done, things that I've been through, and so it taught me about life, about people, and so my father was a man of God who was a great teacher, a prayer warrior. He could pray until it seemed like the walls was like bleeding. He would pray so
Wow.
hard,
That's
and,
awesome.
and he instilled this in us. So, and like I said, so it was the church that kind of helped me and shaped me. You know, of course, you know, you having different leaders and pastors, and you seeing the different ones and stuff that they poured in my life and stuff like that. So that's what that basically was sustaining me and learning about God and coming to know who He is and all of those things. So that's to me which I would basically always be grateful for.
Love it.
The last thing I would just say to your brothers before I know I didn't want to go this way, but this was in my it was in my head that I wanted to encourage all your guys because as everybody was talking, I was reminded of a song by the Winans, and it's one of my favorite songs. And I have spoken this song to many people to say that for you will never know all the peoples you have touched.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And on all the lives that you have reached. But we know, who knows, for a record he do keep. And so you have to fight through it. I know sometimes it get hard, but God keeps a record.
Yes.
And He knows every one of your guys that you might not even know. But He sees what we don't see. And all he asks you to do is just be that light, plant that seed, and He will do the rest. And you might not never know. But sometimes you do, maybe down the road.
Right.
Like you said, this woman, like Listo said, this woman came to him and she knew him, but he don't remember her.
Right.
So that's the key. You have to constantly. I'm just want to just really say that to your guys, that your guys are doing a great job, and you know, it is the way it is. You got to understand who you fighting against. It's not necessarily the people that you trying to reach, but you fighting against the one that we don't see. You understand what I'm saying? And so this is what you got to understand, because you know the enemy have a hold on these folks, and you their only lifesaver, and he ain't gonna let them go easy.
He's not gonna let him go easy, bro.
So you have to learn to be the one that's going to stand in the gap, and that's going to fight against the darkness. And so that's where we are in this thing, man. So that's all I got to say, man. Be encouraged, man.
Yeah, listen, Randy can't help but preach, man. It's just in him. It oozes out. He can't help but to preach, bro. Randy, I love that, man. I love it. Gus, give it to me, bro. And I have a question for you too, Gus, before we end. But who's your person, man?
He's muted.
Oh, hold on. Wait. Go ahead. What you say?
Yeah, I said you had me muted the whole time, bro.
Oh, did I?
Yes. I guess you didn't want me to participate, but that's okay.
No, I want you to participate, bro. I think I'm muted because I heard feedback, but then okay. All right.
So you just for granted it was me. All right, we understand. Thurston really knows the person who impacted me was my guidance counselor, Miss Geraldine Smalls, who made me go into the field of guidance counseling. Even when I had obstacles in front of me, and I went to her. I've been out of school for a while, and I went back to her. She said, "Just take your ass up there to school and register." To the day I went back, and I got accepted. So for her, I saw her methodology was not by the book.
Right.
She did some things that, and to this day, she been castrated. You know what I mean? But her rationale was, if they won't remove these obstacles, I will, by whatever I have to do.
Wow.
So I took that into my own arsenal and said, listen, if this kid needs this, this, and that, I'll find a way. So when I said earlier about kicking down the doors, but externally, we always got somebody who wants to help. We just have to see it when it's coming. And if we don't see it when it's coming, that's because we're selfish and we're not looking for it to be. Because we're narcissistic in the sense that we get stuck in one thing. Me, it's just black and white. There's no middle ground. Because at the end of the day, can I help these kids or these families Yes or no? And in doing such, we're gonna run into these obstacles. I had got blackballed because I whistle blew on a guidance counselor who was changing grades. Right. And when I took over her caseload, they wanted me to sign off on the transcripts. And I said, I will not do that. So that got me in a bad situation. But end of the day, those who understood what I was doing and how I was doing it, they became gratified to like, oh, and Thurston will tell you, when I'm out in the public, I get mad love. No matter who it is, parents still see me. I've been in school districts just circumventing different things. And I get parents, white kids. I've been in the richest districts and poorest districts. But I'm consistent as what am I going to do while I'm here? That's my goal. So when you guys tell me about your wives and your careers, I've been down that road. I'm still in there now. They brought me in as an in-school suspension teacher. And how I carry myself, these people, they think I'm a dean. Like, I ain't no damn dean. I don't even want to be a dean because my approach is not punitive, and because it's not punitive, I get more respect, and what I'm saying to y'all is, we, as these 6 guys on here tonight, if we all got together, took a lane and just mastered it, and then we got together and we did that, it's nonstop. There's nothing that we can't do, but everybody wants to be their own magician, and they want their name on the marquee. Look what I did. Look what I did. So it's like, what you did, that was for you. And your reward, as I said, will be here on earth. You're not going to get anything else. But these people who you can't talk about and with, it's a problem, And I just take my humility right now because I was worse than what I was. That's why Thurston says the things he says. But he knows if I go in a room, it's over. Because I'm not I'm not stopping till I get what I came for. And we need our young males, especially, or even kids, they need to see that tenacity that we possess. Thurston will tell me, when I got faced with this, only person I could call was you. You know what I mean? Because I'm not about to give up something that I know is rightfully theirs. And I say that because I want it to be infectious. I want it to be contagious. And if you can't do it, because everybody can't be who we are individually, so collectively, we have to stand in the cut for those who can't, so my goal is to make sure that what each of you guys need and want and desire, how do I become the idol maker? How do I become that guy who gets you what you got to get? I call myself a general, a 5-star general, because the only time a 5-star general is in wartime. Other than that, it's only 4. But we're always in a war, and it's always crazy that we have to address these things in that manner. So I leave you guys with the fact of, we need to be the glue to each one of us, that if you got a question or need to be addressed, we should be able to stand in a cut and every facet to say, yeah, I got this brother who can help me. I got this brother who can understand and can deal with it. But I see people who can't take the pressure and they leave. Meanwhile, you're great at what you do, but you don't want to deal with the pressures, and you sell yourselves out short because they say, oh, I got to feed my family. But then we get up every morning and say, Lord is my shepherd, I should not want. That's funny. No, I live every day with one thing, and it's very simple. Be still and know that I am God. That's it. No matter when I don't understand it, when it gets so freaking crazy, I just sit and I meditate on it. Be still and know that I'm God. You never know what he's doing elsewhere for your sake, And we get to the point where if we do it and he can't do that, because he's not going to interfere, he needs you to rely on what's best, even if we don't get it, So I'll leave y'all with that. And, if there's something that I can never do for you,
you preaching good.
Preaching real good, bro. Real good.
I just want you guys to understand. Thurston shut me up, so I got to make it up.
You were saving that. You were saving that.
Yes.
Yeah, I was saving them.
So this is the thing. All right. You know me and I know you. I don't understand why you didn't just text me and say, hey, take the damn off of my mic, bro.
Because you guys were talking some good shit. So I was like, let me see what I'm gonna get out of this. You know what I mean? I was looking for what you guys were saying. Maybe it comes a time. Be still and know that I'm God. I had to be still.
I get
to see what you guys had. I got too much experience under my belt that I didn't want to jump in, and somebody felt and infringed upon, and or this nigga think he know everything. No, I don't. I
This is what
listen,
we do,
and that's
bro.
my craft.
This is why we have who we have on the show. This is what we do constantly. And so I was excited to have you on tonight because I know who you are. I know what you're going to bring to the table. So don't ever let that happen again, man. If I've muted you, it was probably because of feedback or whatever, but you got to be able to jump in. And I hope we didn't miss anything that you had here during the show.
Right.
But
It was made for that. It was made for that. So I took that back.
I get it. That absolutely. So listen, just to close out, I really appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll tell you similarly, I needed this tonight. Just like Pastor Darren said, I needed this because listen, I know we all have a biblical worldview and we all trust God and we love God and all of that, right? But bro, I be wanting people to get got. I want people to act right, and if they don't, I need some consequences. But I do understand that I have to trust God, that I have to lean on Him. I do. But I'll tell you, like y'all may be a little bit more spiritual than me, and maybe y'all are floating on air. I be wanting people to get got, guys. Right? And so I just want things to be done right. I want things to be done right. But I need to hear this because I have to sort of reshift my focus. And so back to the final question. There's one person in particular, but Gus, you may remember this. This is not the teacher I'm talking about, but he did have an impact on me. Gus, do you remember a Mr. Diaz that taught math at Wine Dancer? He may have taught for like 1 year. I don't know if we had that class together. Do you remember?
I didn't have him, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So I loved his class, and he really, like, when it came to math and how I engaged in it, because he made the class fun, I really, really enjoyed him. But the person that really had a tremendous impact on my life was a Mr. Everett Collins. He was a music teacher that I first engaged with in 9th grade in Amityville. And so just for context, my father passed away when I was 11. And then the year after he passed, my family started moving around a lot. So I went from Wine Dance to Central Islip in 7th grade and Copeg in 8th grade. In 9th grade, I wound up in Amityville. And then that's when I met Mr. Collins, and he was a music teacher and he was the basketball coach. And I think for the first time, even though I was surrounded by a lot of people, surrounded by love, my sisters loved me. They told me I could do anything, and they really built me up. But that was the first time that someone that of his stature that I respect, he saw me, he saw a talent in me. He taught me how to write songs, he taught me how to sing, and he also taught me how to shoot a jump shot. Right. And it impacted me because that was the first time I've really felt seen and poured into by someone. And he has really set the standard for how I engage with young people, because he didn't just do it and say, Thurston, whatever you do is fine and you can sing and you can play. He held me accountable. There was a level of accountability that he held me to that I hadn't really experienced. And that was different for me. I knew that he cared for me. I knew that he believed in me, but he also held me accountable. You got to do what you need to do. That is so very important. So that is the one person that really changed the trajectory of my life and had me believing in myself. Like, oh, I can sing. I mean, I grew up in the church. I sang just like everybody else in choirs and stuff, but he's the one that really, told me I can do all of these things that I've been doing. So, and he came back into my life. He's the one that put me in this group that we went and sang for Clive Davis live and got a contract to record and traveled and all of this stuff. But he was the one. And sadly, he passed away a couple of years ago. Rest in peace. And but he knew how much he meant to me because we had a relationship. And I told him many, many times how much he meant to me. So that was my person. And I just think it's important that even for those people that may be listening, that we recognize the people that have impacted us, because we need to impact others.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. That question is great, because now we're thinking about who we might be impacting, right?
Exactly.
And 20 years from now, there's going to be a group of people answering that question, right?
Right.
And we hope that they're going to talk about us like we're talking about people, right?
Right. Exactly. So that's it, guys. We're under 2 minutes. I mean, under 2 hours. Great. I appreciate you guys. We have other guys that wasn't able to join tonight, but they definitely will be joining in the upcoming weeks. Every 2 weeks, we're gonna be here at 6 p.m. I'll be in a different spot. I'm in DC tonight, but I'll be back home for the next one, I think. Or the next one I might be in Jacksonville, but we'll see. And I appreciate you guys, and I look forward to speaking some more on in the next upcoming weeks. All right,
bros.
All right.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Ain't no other crew spreading power like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no other squad lifting spirits like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no team bringing brotherhood like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us. Ain't no man moving in purpose like us. Brothers like us, brothers like us.